minute. Looks like our other group has cleared. You look for your at the bottom. Look down to the bottom and you see headset. It says earphones, device settings, and just go to default. Cannot hear you. Let's see. Wait a minute. You're muted. Okay,
Okay.
there you go.
All right.
There you go. You were just muted. You're okay. You're okay.
Unmuted me.
Yeah, you're okay. We'll be back in
Great.
just
How are you, Mr. Williams?
He's in the middle of something. He'll be with us in a minute.
Good. Okay, great.
Okay. Hello, Michael, and hello, 504. Caller, we'll be with you shortly. Please hold on. And Dr. G, I will introduce you this time and turn it over to you. We're going on mute for a couple minutes.
Okay, so I've got it set up where it's for speaker focus. I'm going to have to go back in and edit some of the other stuff because it's not letting me do it right now. But I'm able to capture the desktop. So whoever is speaking is going to have the floor. So I will be muted. D, I would suggest you mute yourself and then let the focus be on Dr. Guye and son Mike, okay?
I'm just going to introduce him and then I'm going to mute. And the dog should be quiet in a minute. So is this live broadcast or is this just a recording?
Yeah, no, it's a live broadcast. It's not just a recording. So it's live streaming to YouTube right now.
And
So
we will be able to edit it though?
Yeah, I will be edited. Yep.
Okay, we can edit. Okay, that's good.
I'm going on mute now.
Okay.
Once I do it, I'm going to leave myself there because the screen pop up will look kind of different. Well, it'll let me do it. Hold on.
Can you hear me?
We can. We haven't started recording yet.
Okay.
I hear Michael. I see you're adjusting. Michael, do not hear you. You may have to go to your telephone. You can't get your sound up.
Ask him if he can increase his volume.
Okay, I am putting in everyone else on mute with the exception of the gentleman Guerrier. Hello, LJ, you're going on mute. At the end of the call, we will bring you in to allow you to speak to them. Hello, Ricky. Okay, Steve, just let me know when I can introduce him and I'll go to mute after that.
I already did. Go.
I can't hear Michael.
Cannot hear you, Michael.
I told you.
I told you 5 minutes ago.
You can go.
Yeah,
That's it.
we're still trying. Michael doesn't have sound.
Whoa, whoa.
He was trying to clear his sound up.
I heard him say, I told you 5 minutes ago. I don't know
That
what
was
that
Steve.
was.
That
Did
was
you hear
Steve.
that?
That was Steve.
Oh, that was Steve? Okay.
Okay, Michael's gonna probably have to go to his telephone, but let's get started, and he can keep working on it. I know you'll pick it up from this point.
Okay. Okay.
Good afternoon. This is the Crossroads, the paths that we've traveled, brought to you by Juneteenth, Nevada, and the Samuel L. Smith Educational Foundation. Today's guests are the Jazz Brothers, Michael and Dr. Al Guerrier. I am now turning it over to the brothers, Jazz. Thank you for being with us today. Dr. Guerrier, would you like to start off?
Thank you very much, Dee. And it's really a pleasure to be with you today to share with you on this last day of Black History Month. And at the start of tomorrow, we'll be celebrating Women's History Month. And I guess a great place for me to start would be to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Al Guerrier. I'm president of the Samuel L. Smith Educational Foundation, and I have developed a partnership with the National Juneteenth Observance Foundation of Nevada to help promote common goals and objectives that we both have set for ourselves. One of the efforts that we've joined the Juneteenth Nevada effort in is developing an oral history. One of the most significant and important parts of us as a people in the process of Sankofa is knowing where we've come from. And quite a bit of our history has been lost simply because we have not documented it. So today, my effort is to address one of the personal goals I have in my relationship to dealing with history and with people. And that simply says, we cannot teach what we don't know. So if we're going to teach our children and teach the future what we've done in the past, then we've got to find ways of communicating it. So it's very important that we encourage those youngsters who are listening to us today, who are interested in the history, culture, and contributions of African American people. Now is the time for you to begin your contribution by documenting. Today, we've got a very unique format, and we're using a very modern technology in an effort to communicate with our listening audience. Today, we've got what we call ourselves the Jazz Brothers. And this is not the first activity. We have a previous session together that should be available on YouTube under Jazz Brothers, and we'll give you more information about that later. Right now, I'm going to start my session by introducing my guest and co-host today, my brother, Michael, Mr. Jazz Gurrier. This is my big brother with whom I slept. And those of you who are from large African-American families like we are, and Michael is the oldest. I give him his regards. You know how those first children are. And I'm the second. So we're the first two of the children of Alf George and Edna Ricard Gurrier. They had 9 children. Now, after Michael and I came 2 girls, May Carol and Anne Marie. So in the beginning, in our little room, there were only 2 beds. And then, of course, as time went along, there were more beds in our room. But that's part of our history. And that's kind of where we started the last time Mike and I got together. We actually started talking about the place where we both were born, by the river, the Mississippi River in New Orleans, Louisiana, at 1023 Lyon Street in the 13th Ward of New Orleans, Louisiana. That's where we both were buried. And my grandmother told me, I don't know if Mike has ever heard this, but our grandmother, who we talked about last time, May Lillian Porch Ricard, actually told me that our afterbirth was buried in the yard behind the house. So, hey, we go way back. We were born in a house. So that's how far back this brother and I go. And he is 80. So we bring a lot of history to our show today. And I'd like to start where we left off last time. We had talked about our family, our father, and some experiences with our father. And in our personal history, we left off about 1960. But I'd like for Mike to kind of bring you up to date right now and share a little something about his background. I know last time we established the fact that you were a medical professional, that you had been professionally trained. Your undergraduate work in medical technology was done at Xavier University, a historical Black college in New Orleans, and then you went on to additional medical school at Ohio State University, where you became one of the first 1,000 registered cytotechnologists in the United States. What is a cytotechnologist, Mike Gurrier? Dee, can you hear him? Oh, wow. Okay, so we're having some trouble with your audio right now. Mike, you're going to have to call the Uber line, and it's the 720 line that I shared with you, and we could see you. And hopefully momentarily we'll be able to chat with you on the phone line. But Mike Gurrier is a giant in the field of jazz unto his own. And we talk about in our discussion last time, and hopefully we'll have an opportunity to get more in depth as it relates to our history and our family culture and the experiences that we have in the field of jazz. As a matter of fact, last time we talked, Mike was talking about an uncle of ours, Robichaud. His name was John Robichaud, and he was very involved with the founding fathers of jazz, had his own band and was a performing artist in the New Orleans area. And in our earlier discussion, we talked about our family homestead in the 49 or 4700 block of Camp Street. And my father was actually born in that house in 1909. And his brother-in-law, my grandmother's brother, Robichaud, who was the jazz musician, lived across the street from us. So we've got a long lineage of history and our music and what we've been about as it relates to the music in New Orleans, our hometown. So I think we might. Good. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much. And I would like to think I'll do without this headphones, but you can hear me what I'm saying, and hopefully the volume level is sufficient that you'll be able to understand what I'm saying. You had queried me earlier about the field of avocation that I had embarked upon completing my undergraduate work at Xavier University. I went to Ohio State University and studied the fine craft of cytotechnology. And to break it down simply, cyto means cell and ology means the study of, and basically that was what I was charged with in the area of endeavor that I had decided to spend some time. Cytology is a field, a subfield of the area of pathology, diagnostic medicine. And it was actually created by a pathologist by the name of George Papanicolaou, who was doing work on female hormonal patterns. And in the examination of the cells in that particular study, they determined that there were abnormal appearing cells in the specimen. And so he took upon himself the interest to try to find out, where the source of these cells were. And lo and behold, he comes to find out that they were cells which had originated in the female cervix, which at that time was the number one activity where mortality and morbidity amongst women was very high. And to break that down, what I mean is that women were dying right and left from cancer of the cervix. And he had found that by examining these cells, you could determine the percentage of abnormal cells that you incurred and the various stages as a result of the variations of the cells. Now, you have to realize that this is back in the 50s when it first started, and it has evolved over the years now to encompass the whole body. The basic theory is applied to the whole body, and you examine cells from whatever area the specimen is submitted, and knowing what normal cells look like, you're able to determine whether abnormal cells are present and whether the abnormality is a result of a neoplastic process, which usually indicates the cancer's growth, or other changes. I mean, you can determine changes as a result of bacterial or mycotic or even deficiencies. Vitamin and food deficiencies can also cause variations in cells. So it's an overall compilation of looking at a set of cells that is presented to you for examination and determining whether they're normal, and if they're not normal, then what type of changes are affected that you can come out with a diagnosis. And nowadays, the field is utilized to diagnose procedures all throughout the body. You can do what they call endoscopic examinations, where they use ultrasound or fluoroscopy and isolate a specimen and obtain cells from that area. And then once you get the cells, you're able to make a somewhat definitive diagnosis as to whether abnormalities are present or not.
Wow. So all of this technical training that you and people who are just joining us for the first time are saying, wow, well, the bottom line is what Brother Mike's area of expertise is, and what, as a result of his training, he was among the first scientists, doctor types in the United States who did pap smears. Is that basically what you?
No, I wouldn't want to claim something that I was not. I don't have a doctor's degree. I did have a master's of health science degree, and as you mentioned earlier, I was considered a cytologist, a person that studied the cells, and I worked under the pathologist in the whatever medical institution that I was affiliated with.
Okay, so you're a trained medical person. how do you get into jazz? Was jazz an avocation of yours, or was it an interest that you developed to the point where it became a very significant part of your life?
Well, you know, being born in New Orleans, it was inevitable that you were going to be exposed to music because New Orleans is the birthplace of jazz. And from an early age, we had music all around us, in the house, in the neighborhood, the schools, the church. So it was, an early exposure, and I was very interested in the music. And as time went on, I just applied myself to, acquiring as much information as I could from whatever sources were available to me. We had a lot of
Did you sing in the choir with Deacon
very
John?
famous musicians that lived in the neighborhood, and I had the opportunity to hear them play. And as I said, over the years, my interest and desire to quench that thirst for knowledge of musical development has grown, and I have been fortunate enough to have been exposed to a lot of music and a lot of different styles and all. And what I do today is try and share some of that knowledge on a radio show that I have here in Richmond, Virginia. This is something that's near and dear to me, and I am glad to go down and broadcast from the station, exposing people to music, jazz specifically, and also interjecting historical and subjective comments that are appropriate to the type of music that I'm listening to.
Well, I can recall from my perspective. Well, first of all, I interrupted you when you were talking about when you were a youngster. Were you in the choir with Deacon John? Did you and Deacon John sing together at one of your early
Yes,
points?
John Moore was from a family that lived in the general neighborhood that we lived, and they were a large family, which was common to that day. And he sang in the choir with me, along with former Mayor Sidney Bartholomew, Dale Bowers, David DeRoca. There were quite a few people that were my contemporaries in grammar school where we went that sang in the church choir, and that was the basic foundation. Although I also have to interject and, tip the hat to her, because I tell people I wasted a lot of my mother's money because she provided the opportunity for me to go to music lessons, but I just didn't have the patience. And that's one of the things that I always, accolade musicians, because music is an art form that requires you to have patience and put a lot of time in. And one of the large percentages of that time is allocated to practice. And I just didn't have the patience to sit up there and start, keep playing the piano. So I had to move on. I still had the basic knowledge, background, and insight into it, but I didn't have the patience to sit up there and practice. So now all I can do is listen to music, play the music on the radio, and talk about the music on the radio, or wherever. And that's what I've been doing. In recent years, I've been a guest presenter at the Jazz Studies Department at Virginia Commonwealth University in the Jazz History section, where I've given lectures on different aspects of the development of jazz. And I have also given presentations at other locations. When the Ella Fitzgerald stamp came out, I made a presentation on Ella Fitzgerald, who happens to be from Virginia, at our local post office. And most recently, I appeared up at a concert in Eastern Virginia where I commentated on a presentation of the music of Edward Kennedy Ellington, also known as Duke Ellington, and spoke about the compositions and gave some insight into the tunes that were played by 17-piece orchestra at the presentation.
Okay, you're getting so far ahead of me. I just kind of had to break in because.
Well, that's okay. I'll afford you the area of direction, and you just tell me what you want to hear.
Well, hey, you're a Gourier, so I mean, I know you're long-winded.
Dr. G.
I mean, that may
Dr. G.
actually, in fact, be what Gourier means in French, long-winded. But I really wanted to talk about.
Hello,
Dr.
the
G.
fact that,
Dr. G.
yes,
Dr. G. You got it.
Yeah.
All right. This isn't going good, so we need to stop. His sound is breaking up. He's got no video. It's not coming up when he's there. So
Okay.
we just got a black screen, and so I'm going to try to stop everything, and let's see if we can't get him where he's in Uber conference, where he's working.